on Tuesday working with the running backs. Just what has his progress looked like to this point in fall camp?
First off, Branson had a really tremendous spring practice. Unfortunately, he got injured during spring ball, and he's done a really good job of going to treatment and taking the mental part of his game to the next level because he physically couldn't do anything. And he's been a really good leader. He's been exceptional in the classroom and also leading some of the younger guys in reference to Rod Robinson of kind of being a mentor to him. So I'm very pleased with his progress. It's really exciting to see him back on the field, starting to move around a little bit. And the way we structure practice and have our walkthroughs, we're able to get almost close to full speed reps without all the banging and clanging. So it's very good to see Branson back on the football field.
Dell, how you doing?
Hey, Chip.
What's it been like to be reunited with your old pal, Mike Butler?
Mike's a tremendous coach. Really not reunited. He was here last year, and he was a sponge under Coach Monken, and he's going to do a tremendous job for us. I think the way we're geared and structured under Coach Smart, we didn't change a lot from a philosophical standpoint. We're still status quo on what we're going to do. Our kids didn't have a lot of learning. Coach Bobo's definitely going to implement his style. He'll have his way of doing things and calling plays, but in turn, we'll still find out who the best players are, put those guys in the best position. We'll still do a lot of things that we've done over the last 3 years under Coach Monken, and I look forward to working with Bobo moving forward. Another interesting point is we're still going to have input as coaches. We kind of deviate a lot of things up on the staff, and we all present our ideas to Coach Bobo, and he will take what he likes and he'll tell us what he doesn't like, and he'll be in charge of calling those plays on game day.
Coach, you guys have kind of been banged up even back in the spring. I'm curious, as a coach of your position group, how do you make sure there's no drop off from one guy to the other, and how do you make sure the next guy looks prepared?
Good question. I always got to make sure the next guy's ready. So the expectation is prepare everyone like they're a starter. And just like I spoke earlier about the way we practice, we have two balls on two different fields to maximize reps. So the bottom half of our roster is always getting developed, and they're able to see the mistakes that they're making, or if they're doing things the correct way. And we're able to define roles. We're able to decide who's going to be the starter based on how they're doing during practice. But right now with the injured guys, we're just really trying to win the moment right now and not worry about the outcome or looking forward. So we're going to be where our feet are and just really concentrate on our day-to-day and not look past the day that we have in front of us.
Yeah, with Kendall Milton, we saw him in practice the other day. Just how is he doing physically? And for a guy that has had so many injuries through his career, how do you as a coach keep his spirits up when he may have another one, it seems, right at the start of camp?
He's dealt with injuries, so keeping his spirit up is not very hard. He understands it's a physical game, just like we all do. Injuries are going to occur, and the biggest thing for Kendall is he remains a leader for us, and he's a leader in that room. And he still has a great voice and influence on our room and other players on the team. So I don't see his spirits being down. He doesn't really second guess anything. It's just unfortunate that he's had injuries since he's been here, and it's, no one's trying to get hurt or want to be hurt as a player. As a competitor, which he is, he wants to be out with his teammates, doing everything he can. But I will say, while he's rehabbing, he's maximizing those opportunities. He's going 3 times a day. He has outside things he does as well, as far as yoga and some other massage therapists that comes in. We're just happy we got him on our team, and he's battling through fine.
Two-part quick. Kirby talked last week about Cash Jones and his development. What have you seen from him? And have you gotten a chance to reach out to Sony after he hung it up last week and retired?
Yes, first question with Cash. Really glad we have him. He was part of our strongest guys on the team, pound for pound, which speaks a lot for him with his size. He's definitely, he played last year on special teams. I think he was a starter on kickoff and contributed on other areas in our kicking game. And we still think he would do a great job in that area. Cash catches the ball well out of the backfield. He's somewhat of a matchup problem for linebackers, very similar to James Cook, Kenny McIntosh, who have served in those roles. The thing I really like about Cash is he's very unselfish. He goes 1,000% every single day, and he does it with a smile on his face. So anything you ask of Cash, he's more than willing to do it. And then with Sony, yes, I have spoken with him. He's actually in Boston with his wife and seeing his in-laws right now. He's in good spirits. He knows the direction he wants to go in life, and he had a tremendous career, and he still has an influence on this program and the standard that was set for the running backs that our kids still admire and look up to him.
Dell, you mentioned Cash out of the backfield as a pass catcher. How are your other running backs in that aspect of their games?
Yes, I would say this with injuries with Kendall and what Branson and even Andrew Paul coming off ACL, you don't get a chance to get those physical reps, so you lose out on that. So they have to really do extra, whether it's on their own or me as a coach taking time out and making sure that they're getting those necessary route development and hand development that's needed to catch. All of our guys have improved in that area, and we can't let our injuries or not being there be an excuse to not catch the ball. When their numbers called in the passing game, they're expected to catch it and answer the bell.
Yeah, speaking of Andrew Paul, just what have you seen from him over the past 8-9 months coming back from that ACL? Where is he at now in terms of getting closer to full speed?
Yes, he is getting closer. His confidence is growing daily. Just like anyone that's been through ACL, he was reluctant to wear his brace. Then he put the brace back on, took it off. So him taking the brace off is really a good sign that he's in a good headspace. And he's really worked hard to get back to where he is. Of course, with camp, you get a little bit worn down, so you got to kind of distinguish between, am I sore or is my knee really bothering me? And he's really been very open and honest with our training staff and myself on when he feels like he can go and when he can't.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask you about Roderick Robinson, one of your younger guys in the group. What have you kind of seen from him through this process, and especially the opportunities he's maybe gotten with so many injuries going on in that room?
Yes, definitely has gotten an opportunity to get a lot of reps, even coming out of spring football. You can see his growth, his development. This is probably the hardest thing he's had to do since being in high school, just going through fall camp. I think that has an impact on most freshmen when they come in, just the hours, the mental and physical toughness that you got to have to go day to day with the banging and clanging, and also just having some time constraints where you got to get off your feet, get up early, go to treatment, and do it over and over and over and over for the days we got left in camp. But very happy where he is. It's basically like you got a flower that you're planting. He still needs fertilizing, and he has a lot of room to grow. So we're still cultivating Rod as a player, not only as a football player, but just things off the field, how to study film, and just kind of putting it all together.
Coach, I heard you talk about the game plan being a collective effort. You've coached here as a position coach under several different offensive coordinators. Is that something that's been consistent throughout, or is that something y'all implemented as years have gone by under Coach Mark?
I think it's been consistent throughout. I would say when Coach Monken came, it became a little bit more detailed and a little bit more organized, oriented, where it's a certain day a coach is going to present this, another day a coach is going to present this area. And I think when he came in, he gave every coach that he assigned an area kind of a sense of pride of the game plan. You're taking a piece of the game plan and you're making it your own. But ultimately, it was up to the coordinator whether he wanted to keep or take out or tweak what our other coaches thought that were important in parts of the game plan. And like I said previously, Coach Bobo is going to do the same exact thing, so nothing's really changing from that perspective.
Yeah, going into your 8th season now, you've been here, worked with a ton of different running backs. How over that time have your views evolved in terms of what you look for, traits you look for when recruiting running backs to come to the University of Georgia?
Yeah, I would say philosophically, where we've gone from the 3 coordinators that we've had, it's kind of changed because of who we had in the room. First getting here with Coach Chaney, just establishing that line of scrimmage, run game. Plus we had 2 really good backs that were older that had carried the load and understood running the football, and it wasn't a whole lot to teach there. And kind of progressing through Coley and even into Monk and getting the backs more involved in the passing game has tremendously increased. And I think your recruiting philosophy has to change a little bit to kind of cater to what the coordinator wants. And when Monken was here, he showed that he wanted to have running backs that were able to create things in space, catch the football, create matchups for linebackers. And I think that philosophy will still stand. So it does change according to what that coordinator wants, and also the leadership of Coach Smart. So everything still goes through Coach Smart. So we are looking for guys that are talented, guys that can run fast, guys that got vision, things that you really don't have to teach, and then just maximize whatever the redeeming qualities that they have.
Coach, I know you can't talk specifically about recruits, but you do have 3 committed in this class. How do you sell 3 top running backs to all come in the same recruiting class?
I would say that they see the room. We have 2 seniors in Kendall Milton and Dejon Edwards that are leaving the program. We have Andrew Paul, who's coming off an injury. It still takes time for running backs to get their legs up under them. They also saw the fact that Branson was dealing with an injury, and we still hadn't got to our allotted number of 6 running backs. So we've been under our allotted number. We're basically just getting to 6. And I really don't, it wasn't really a sale. Like I've said previously, running backs have all flourished here at the University of Georgia. And that's the expectation. They want to be a part of that. And, just being competitive, having the chance to better themselves as men, and just the influence of me being in their life, I think plays a big, big part of, that.
Where do the running backs stand at this point in the fall camp in comparison to the last couple of years?
We're still a work in progress right now because of the injuries. A lot of guys have had to take a bigger load. Speaking of Dejon Edwards and Cash Jones, even our walk-on Savon Clark, his workload has increased due to our injuries. But at the same token, it's my job to prepare who's ever available, who's ever healthy, to perform at a high level. And we're just really, really concentrating on each day, each moment, winning those small moments without looking into the future, looking at future outcomes. It's basically, how do I get better daily?
Dell, what specifically is Kendall dealing with? And when you look at the running back room as it stands right now, how confident are you with what you've got when you include the injuries?
I'm very confident. I think we have the right guys. They have the right mindset. They're working their butts off. They do extra for us, film study, They're really connected as a group, and our offense won't live and die by our running backs. We got really good players all over the football field. So I think our running back room will be by committee. Whoever has the hot hand will earn those touches, and we'll spread the ball out and find out who needs to touch the ball as the game goes on.
You talked about when you came in, you had a couple guys that had a lot of experience running the ball, but you coached up Samir White, James Cook, all those guys. In your 8 years, what is the hardest thing to teach a new running back about playing football?
Biggest thing is when you're coming out of high school, they don't have an opportunity to pass protect and see the multitude of blitzes and things that especially our defense throws at a running back. So the nonverbal communication between the center quarterback and running back is something that they have to learn. How physical and big linebackers that are blitzing the running back is definitely different, because most of the linebackers that we're picking up are bigger than us. So picking up blitz protection, learning the nonverbal communication is probably the hardest thing for most running backs coming out of high school. And it just takes reps and reps and reps and reps, and me getting chewed out and me being a bad coach. And so I just take it to heart and we just continue to grind and get better at it.
Got time for maybe 2 more questions, anybody?
Coach, you talked about getting chewed out. Is it refreshing that, like, when you walk around the building, I would imagine Coach Smart kind of gives that smoke to everyone? Is it fair game, essentially?
Oh yeah, everybody get that smoke. So everybody. So Coach Smart has set the standard in this organization. He doesn't let any minute detail go past. There's things that he will remember 5-6 years ago, and he'll bring that up, and it's like, wow, that's amazing that he remembers that minute detail, or we did this on that day. So Coach Smart has done a tremendous job of establishing a culture and reinventing himself throughout his 8 years of being here. And you know, I credit him to a lot of my knowledge. I think he challenges the entire staff to grow and not be stagnant or stale. He always challenges us to find a different way, find a better way. Are we doing this the right way? Us bringing in other coaches from other programs, we lean on those coaches as well. Hey, how did you do this particular drill? So Coach Smart is demanding, but he also allows us to have our voice and opinion while he's still putting his foot on our throat, or giving us that smoke, as you were saying.
Coach, obviously you have a lot of experience recruiting here, and now your son is entering his senior year and going on visits and stuff like that. What's it like to be a part of that process for him, and how much of it is dad telling him what to do, and how much of it is Austin letting you do out there?
Yeah, well, I try to be a dad and not a coach. Very hard to do. The thing about my son, I would say, is he really embraces that. He comes around our facility as much as possible, and our student athletes that are here are tremendous role models to him, and he really enjoys his time with them, and he sits in meetings, and so he sees how things are supposed to be. You know, unfortunately, he's not going in a school that has all the resources, bells and whistles that we have. So, you know, the biggest thing he needs to understand is work, be who he is, and take what he's learned from watching guys here and develop himself and develop into the best human being he can be.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dell.
All right, thank y'all.